Right, I'm not going to lie to you guys, I'm actually really excited about what we're going to talk about today. And that is this, the EK3M. Yes, I've finally done it. The EK3M kit is ready and available to be ordered. But before we dive on into that, I just want to quickly say, if you haven't already, please do consider subscribing to this channel and dropping a like and a comment down below. It really does help out and keep the channel growing. Now, recently, Facebook and YouTube have started becoming even more anti-gun than they were, and even more anti, toy gun. So I really don't expect you to do this, but if you have even the inkling that you want to, please do consider sharing this video out on your social media platform, and in fact videos of other content creators in the airsoft and real firearms sector. It really will help keep the community alive and keep it growing so that we can bring you entertaining and informative videos. Right, that's enough of me whoring myself out and fighting the good fight for the firearms community out there. Let's dive on into the EK3M. So, just a bit of quick back history. I've been working on the EK3 project for just over 2 years now. It all started back in September of 2019 when I went to DSEI for you guys. That's the Defence and Security Equipment International Expo. Basically, Excel gets filled with a bunch of defence contractors and militaries from around the world, and they all show off their toys. And H&K were no exception, and they were there with their prototype SA80 A3s. And they were on a white table, and you were allowed to take pictures. So I did. And then I talked to the H&K rep and asked them what they'd done to make the A3. And they told me. So with that knowledge burned in my brain, I went home, cued the music, and designed this, which is my homage to the A3 kit. Or my homage to the A3 system that was designed by Hector & and is primarily aimed to take your airsoft SA80, whether it be an A1 or an A2, and bring it up to the A3 external spec as H&K had designed. Now, I did make a video on this a couple of years ago, and after that happened, and after this kit was properly working and fitted, my mate Chris at Supervibes, for reference, Chris and I went to uni together, messaged me and was like, hey, can I license the design off you and get it made in metal and produce it as a proper kit? And I went, this sounds like a great idea. So we worked together, and he found a local machinist, and we made this, which is the EK3 kit, or well, more precisely my EK3 kit mounted on my WE-L85. This was CNC aluminium, both for the front handguard, the rear sight rail, and the mounting block. And these are really nice bits of kit, very solid, very substantial bits of kit. Look pretty good, complete with the E key, I call it, based off the H key, which is Hector & Koch's proprietary mounting system, not the same as Keymod. And all intents and purposes, a really nice bit of kit. However, pretty much as soon as we released this, the MOD did something really weird. They changed their mind and listened to their squadies. So the squadies who've been testing, or been using the first batch of the A3, how do I put this politely, had some thoughts about it. Namely, they did not like Hector & Koch's proprietary H key and the lack of cost-effective mounting solutions for it, and they thought the rail was rather narrow, so much so that to show how narrow they thought it was, some squaddies accidentally broke their safety selectors off their rifles. So the MOD got H&K back, cued the music, and redesigned their rail. And here it is. So as you can see, they made it slightly wider, deleted the port for mounting an underbarrel grenade launcher, instead opting to go for a separate grenade launcher, replaced the H key with m-lok, and put finger stoppers on it to protect the safety. So I went, right, time to cue the music, and I return it into my design. which I shall now call the EK3M. The M, if you haven't figured out, is for m-lok. So again, I winded it, added the m-lok slots, deleted the hole, and added finger stoppers. Also, H&K added their logo, so I added my logo, EK, English Kiwi. It's quite fortunate that, actually. So at this time, I went to Chris and said, "Hey, let's make this batch." And we went, "Okay, yeah, that's a good idea." And we went and had a look, and the manufacturing costs had gone up quite a bit. I mean, quite a bit. Prohibitively expensive, shall we say. So unfortunately, these are not going to be made in metal. And Chris has a rule of thumb, he doesn't like dealing with 3D printed parts, so Supervibes and I have amicably parted ways on the new venture, and instead I will be making and distributing these myself. And by making, I will be getting these produced and distributing them myself. That's not to say that the EK3 kit is not available. So if you want a Gen 1 A3, I highly recommend checking out the EK3 kits over at Supervibes. These really are very nice pieces of kit, and I know I designed them, but I would recommend them very much. Why don't we have a look at what comes in the kit? Well, the first and probably biggest part is this, the front handguard. This is the new design featuring the m-lok slots, the slightly wider thickness, and the finger stops, as I like to call them. This is a common part across every kit, whether it be the ICS, the WE, or the G&G/Army Armament kit. The next thing to talk about is the rear sight rail. We have two versions available. This one, which fits the ICS and the WE, and this version, be aware this is my original prototype, not a production unit, which fits the G&G and the Army Armament. Both of these mate with the front handguard in such a way that when it's installed in the rifle and the front handguard is installed, they mate up to form a monolithic upper rail. Now, an important thing to bear in mind is the G&G/Army Armament rails will use the existing screws that hold in the existing rail to mount these in place, but the ICS and WEs will be supplied with new bolts to hold them in place. Now, speaking about holding things in place, let's talk about the mounting block. Now, there are three types available. This one's for the WE, there is a separate design for the ICS and another design for the Army Armament and the G&G. They all do the same thing and all look relatively similar, though the back ends vary slightly. And these attach to the front of the receiver of the rifle and allow the rail to be mounted and secured in place. Again, depending on which kit you get, varies which one of these you get. And the final piece of the kit is a gas block. Now, I have taken some liberties with the designs of the gas blocks. They're different for each of the rifle brands, and they all have these round parts on, which the real ones don't have. And what these do is provide extra support to the front of the rail and stop it wobbling around on your rifle. Yes, technically the real A3s are now free float barrels forward of the receiver, but because we're working with nylon here, I just thought adding a bit of extra support up front will reduce the wobble and give you a solid feeling rifle. Now, one of the things to bear in mind is that all of these kits will come in black. Now, I know the issued A3 are not black rifles, but I am colourblind, and every picture I've seen of the newer A3s, they seem to have different colour rails on them. So I thought, instead of me picking a OD green or a burnt bronze colour and going with it, I would leave the painting up to you guys. So if you want, you can have an all black rifle. I personally think they look really cool. Hang on. Like so. Or you can crack out your spray paints, which you can spray directly onto this. Just make sure you've wiped it down to make sure it's clean, and then get spraying. And you can get a bit crazy with it and get a green handguard, or even a tan handguard, or a red, or a blue, or whatever you want. That's the joys of having a base rail to paint. So, you're probably crying now, but Kiwi, where does the battery go? And how big a battery can I fit in it? Unless, of course, obviously you're a Wii user and you're there like, "Haha, gas is far superior," which arguably it is. So, there's actually a ton of battery space in these. For instance, at the moment I have a 1300 11-1 stick in here, and I could probably fit more in there if I tried harder. But I'll show you. The access is relatively easy. you have a single bolt here. This production prototype has just a standard hex head M6 bolt, but the products will be shipped with a black hex head with a cross slot in it, so you can use a small coin or a flathead screwdriver to undo it more easily. And then all you do is take your handguard and slide it up and off your barrel. And reinstalling the handguard is very straightforward too. Get your battery all tucked up into the space you want it. Grab your handguard, slide it down the barrel, make sure your wires go where you want them to. Slide it over the gas block, over the mounting block, grab your bolt, insert it into the hole and tighten it up. Now you don't even have to do it that tight, so this is only finger tight and that's more than enough to support it. As long as it's gone through and threaded in, it's fine. Obviously, the more you tighten it up, the more likely you are to strip your threads out, so don't do it too tight, but slightly more than finger tight is probably optimal, as it will hold it in nice and firmly. And I've extended my wires up so I can put my Dean's connector at the front to get it out of the way. I recommend that as well. You could put it up the top, but I've opted to have my m-lok gas parts up here just to give that bit more realism to it. And yes, the EK3 kit does support keeping your m-lok gas parts in there if you so wish. So mine, I have all the parts. Will's here, he's cut his gas tube down and just got the front in so it looks right. And you can do what you wish. So if you want more battery space, you can take the gas parts out and put like a butterfly style battery around either side of the barrel. Or if you don't really care about stability and want much more battery space, you don't even have to put the gas block on, and you can put as much batteries as you can fit in there. Now these are all made in nylon, so they are very strong and very durable. Obviously this is a new part, but this is my original EK3 prototype from, well, 2 years ago now, and served me in probably about 10 games that I played with this. I had a sling mounted on this side, and as you can see, there is absolutely no damage to it. 3D printed nylon, or at least professional 3D printed nylon, is very sturdy and is not going to break anytime soon. No damage. As you can see, this will more than happily stand up to the tortures of playing airsoft with it. And the good thing is with nylon, it's got a little bit of flex, so it takes out those impacts. Short of possibly full on running into a tree, then falling over on top of it, then jumping up and down on it, I think these rails are pretty bloody solid. Like I said, this is now 2 years old. I know it spent a fair bit of its life in a box, but for the 6 months I used it, absolutely fine. And my prototype m-lok rail has been on here for 3 months and has been carried round by me for quite a while. And I went to Descent and played the 24-hour Descent milsim with this rifle, as you see it, and that stood up to quite a lot of abuse and mud and lots of rain, and it's absolutely fine. In fact, the only damage I can see on it is my paintwork, not the rail itself. And, well, there are 2 ways I can say that I'm happy with how solid these rails are. One, I wouldn't be selling these if I didn't think they were up for airsoft use. And 2, there we go, that's the entire weight of my rifle. Admittedly, S80s are well known for being one of the lightest assault rifles going, being made out of stamp steel with a big heavy gearbox in the back. But yeah, that's the entire weight of the rifle being held on the grip pod, which is attached to the 3D printed rail, which is attached to another 3D printed part, which is then bolted to the rifle. And I'm happy to lift that up, toss it about, catch it by that, grab it by the rail, or even hold it by the bloody sling loop, which is mounted onto the m-lok. This nylon is more than up to the task of being used for airsoft. And also, I've demonstrated there, the m-lok slots are m-lok compatible. There is an m-lok rail mounted on there, and an m-lok sling loop. And it mounts just as you'd expect any m-lok bit of kit to mount. So, by now, I'm sure you're chomping at the bit going, but Kiwi, we want them. How do we get them? How much are they? Well, I'm going to rip the band-aid off straight away and say the kit, so that's the front rail, the sight rail, the mounting block and the gas block are £185 shipped within the UK. If you're outside the UK and want one, drop me a message and I'm sure we can figure out the costs and get it sent out to you. Now, in terms of actually getting one, as I said, I'm going to be the distributor for this, so if you want one, reach out and drop me a message through Facebook. So that's reach out to the English Kiwi page and drop me a message, and I will respond to you and say, yep, that's great, what rifle do you have? Let me know the brand. We'll sort out payment and I will get the conversion kit sorted, packed up, ready for you and sent out to you, along with instructions or a link to instructions to how to convert your rifle and fit the EK3M kit. Now, one very important thing to bear in mind is, I know this looks quite a bit different to an A2 or an A1, but don't worry, everything you need to do to convert your rifle to the A3 kit is reversible. So you can take this rifle and turn it back into an A2 or an A1 or put a different kit on it. I didn't want to lock you into a system and then regret your choice. Not that you are going to regret your choice, hopefully. But yes, it's fully removable and can be converted back to an A2 with no ill effects. So I don't know about you guys, but I'm hugely excited by this, and I honestly cannot wait for you guys to get hands on with it. And let me know how much you love it, really. Obviously, all feedback is welcome, and the great thing with the way I'm producing this is, if there is issues, we can iterate on the design and improve it very quickly. 3D printing allows for that, and I am more than happy for feedback to come in and me and try and fix the problem for you, or improve on the design for you guys. So, I think that about covers it. I honestly can't wait to see what you guys do with the EK3M kit. So, until next time, stay safe, and I'll see you all, hopefully rocking A3s, very soon. Ta-da!